All right, so what's happened again here, folks, is that I did start kind of the show in the sense that I did the stream thing, I did the music, we cut to us. When I cut to us, the little thing that says recording started popped up, which means, folks, I forgot again to actually hit the big red button to start the show, and Nikki had to pick up my garbage and actually save the show. So this is what the third, I want to say third time in 2 weeks that's happened.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Listen,
So
I will give you this. The button's the wrong color and too small.
it's the wrong color,
It's
and
the
then
wrong, and it's not in the right spot on the screen.
I
would
agree.
not put it in the top right corner. It only turns red when it is recording.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it should
it doesn't make sense.
Bigger all the time. The window has crashed again entirely. I need a new computer so fucking bad. Here's what it looks like now for me.
Oh no! All right, I'm gonna go look
can
at
still
what it
hear
looks
you.
like.
I
Oh
can still see
wow!
Interesting.
Wow! Yeah, it's really broken for you in a way that is tough. We're just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. If you crash and leave, oh, there we go.
Now what's happened?
It's gone
I
back
pressed
to
the button.
you pressed the
my
button.
bad.
No, it's okay. The button's fine. Hi, welcome to the show. This is VGB's episode 29. Oh my goodness.
29 straight
We
years.
did it. 29 straight years. We did it. It is the morning after the Game Awards. Nikki, you've had an unbelievably busy past couple of days. How was I was doing Giant Bomb at night. How was doing the Game Awards yesterday at LA Live?
In the last 2 days, John, I have worked for over 1 day.
Now, some would say that we weren't meant to do that. Some would say we weren't meant to do that.
It's a completely fucked number. But honestly, listen, I gotta.
You seem to feel okay. First of all,
I gotta give credit where credit is due, dude. Nikki Grayson last night at let me look at my phone.
Oh
Let's
no.
see, Uber.
Oh no.
No. This is a good thing.
That's a good thing. Okay, all right.
Yeah, no.
Good.
Last night at 1:20 a.m.
Okay.
Nikki Grayson made, some would say, America's best decision.
Okay.
I was in my Uber, a little tipsy, and by tipsy I mean drunk. And I said, I should probably eat. And I said, I couldn't just not. What if I didn't? And then if someone put a hand on my shoulder and said, no, you should eat, I said,
should eat.
I'm going to order McDonald's. And when I arrived, the food was here already.
Oh.
Like within like 2 minutes of each other. So I got my food, and John, it was a heavenly experience.
Oh, like
one of the
how
best
blissful.
things it's ever. Like I woke up this morning at like my normal time on Friday. Like not even like without my alarm. I woke up at 7:30. I got home at 1:20 or 1:30. And I woke up and I felt fine, feel regular. So I'm good.
What's being a responsible adult feeling like? That's kind of wild.
I mean, I stole a beer from the Fig. I poured myself a beer from the tap at the Fig because it was closed, and we wanted another drink. And then I walked behind the bar and I said, well, does anyone want anything? And then I don't think anybody expected me actually to go behind the bar.
To do it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So then I poured myself one, and it was the first time I'd used a tap in a really long time. So it was like 70% head. But the bit was good.
70% head?
That's you.
Smash. That. I was doing the Vine bit where the guy goes no head and breaks his skateboard, but
Breaks
you
his
did it.
skateboard. Yeah,
But you
no.
did a me is most. I'm like a Modoc.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe no one called me Modoc growing up. I feel like
We
that
can
was a really.
change- John,
we could
we can
change
change
it.
that.
I've always wanted a nickname.
Yeah, you don't really have a nicknameable name.
I don't know. I might
It's too
no.
short.
It's too short. My nickname, like, I never let anyone call me Johnny until a girl I thought was cute called me Johnny, and I was like, you could call me
Whatever you
whatever
want.
you want.
But it sucks though. Johnny is
It's
not.
bad.
You're not a Johnny.
It's not good. I'm not a
Like
Johnny.
even a little bit. You're not.
Not
a
even a little bit. I totally agree.
But yeah, it was good actually. I had a time
Good.
yesterday.
Good. I'm glad. It looked like everyone was having a good time. The sandwiches was a good bit.
Like, sandwiches was a really good bit. Yeah, we did. Giant Bomb and Gamespot did the red carpet, which I think actually next year he probably is going to have one. I don't really understand why he doesn't.
I don't understand why he doesn't. But I will also say, if you wanted to hear interesting industry conversations and like little bits that like you might think might actually be in the thing called the Game Awards, the pre-show coverage on GameSpot was actually pretty good for that.
We actually kind of went off yesterday, not to
Yeah, it was good.
smoke up our own ass. It's kind of nuts what you can do when someone gives you money and then takes all of the hard stuff off of your plate.
Right.
And then you are asked to just do the things that you're good at only and not other stuff that we are like capable of doing, but like being able to show up and have this set already done. I don't have to worry about the cameras being set up, like all of, like that removal of that mental and physical lead work is nice.
I also thought Timur was doing a bit on Giant Bomb at night when he was like, "Oh yeah, I had my hair and makeup done."
Oh
and I was
no,
like,
we had
I was like,
hair
"Oh,
and
y'all
makeup.
had people."
Yeah, no, we had hair and makeup. We had union people building a set. We had teleprompters out the ass. We had in-ear monitors. We had like we had it was a whole. It was like we did TV yesterday, which was nice.
Do you fucking remember? Of course you do. The Game Awards in 2021. Well, we went to that studio and that guy kept saying out of pocket shit.
And stepped on
like
Funke's
to
shoes.
everyone, stepped on Funke's shoes, which is crazy.
I do remember that guy.
Real New Yorker Paul Tamayo had to go up to him and
check
say some
that
shit.
guy. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. So yeah, so we did that was yesterday, and then on what day is it today? So
It's
Wednesday.
Friday. I genuinely, I thought it was Thursday this morning when I got up. Yeah.
I don't know.
And I know you've lost track. I know.
Yeah, none of it means anything.
Yeah.
Then on Wednesday we had Giant Bomb at Night presented by Digital Extremes and Warframe 1999, which I'll be honest, I thought was a different game. But did you know that it's an expansion, John?
It's an expansion.
It's just the new. It's just
now,
a new thing.
I don't want to put our very good friend and friend of the show Nerium on blast here. I don't think they've done a very good job of explaining that.
I don't think so either. But you know,
I think if you are already a Warframe sicko, you know
that's
this.
the thing.
But it's like I think if you're constant, they're in a really interesting, legitimately interesting position where they seem to have like a bunch of sickos that they've just picked up like a Katamari for the past like decade, and like they've got all of those, but they keep picking up new people, which is an incredibly impressive thing for a long-term live project to do. But like I think they've maybe just a little bit gotten like too insular about like, no, people know what this. I was like, I really don't think people know what this is still. But I don't think the average person still knows what it is, which is wild to me.
Which is wild, but then also I was talking to Reb Ford, the creative director, and she like was like, yeah, we've got I'm pretty sure I can say this. Whatever. They've got like they've had like 100 million registered users. So
VG's
like
exclusive. I think I've seen that number published.
I think
somewhere.
that number is public,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Sorry, please don't kill me, Reb. That seems like a number that you would say out loud.
Yeah.
Somewhere, you know, if you've hit 100, but like that's a fuck ton of people. Like,
That's a
so
ton of people.
it worked. Like whatever they're doing, very obviously and very clearly works. We had like a Y2K New Year's Eve party. Was the theme. It has in the past been in Giant Bomb at Night has been in a handful of spaces. And for a long time pre-COVID, it was at the Standard Hotel. And then post-COVID, quote unquote, it moved around a little bit. And then we did it at the office one year. And then we moved it to this random ass studio, like adjacent to downtown. And we moved it back to the office. But some genius, Emma Fife, was like, what if we turned the lights off? And you know what that does to a space? when it's not lit like a fucking office on Wilshire.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it different in there. It makes it feel not bad and gross.
Right.
So we turned the lights off and it was actually kind of cool in there.
Yeah.
It was giving like in a really good way, like high school dance energy.
Oh, cool.
Like space wide, like it was cute. I thought it was really nice.
You kept going up to people, dancing with them by putting your hands on their waist, and they would put their hands on your shoulders, and then you would just kind of
and then
sway back and forth.
And another adult like
would
put
kind
their
of push you
hands
apart.
in between and pushes apart and saying leave room for Christ.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
You got any other
well,
questions?
it seemed good. It seemed great. Yeah.
I had fun.
I have a few questions. One, it's like I really need to meet Dan Ryckert.
You gotta meet this guy. Every time I hang out with
I
Dan
really
in person, I'm like, wow, I love this dude.
I need to meet Dan Ryckert. I've watched a lot of Dan Ryckert, but like for some reason him talk like I've never felt more. I've never felt more close, I guess, to someone that I don't know at all than when he was talking about his weird woodpecker issue.
Yeah.
It is relatable and also incredibly funny. He spent a lot of money doing some bullshit. People said, like, it was so funny to hear everyone be like, I think you grossly overpaid for whatever you just did. And his response is such classic straight dude homeowner shit, because I know, because I do this shit, where you go, well, I've checked around, and it's like, you've checked around with other people who were also trying to scam you. That's what's actually happening. And it's so funny to watch someone else do it and then realize yeah. So I gotta meet that guy.
He's good.
I also just there's an anger I have a bit at Jeff Grubb having such a luxurious long head of hair that I thought for years was masking maybe perhaps a lumpy, strange, misshapen, too big, maybe too small, like head, something. Because when I buzz my head as short as he's done it, you can really see kind of the nooks and crannies, the parts that I go to the dermatologist about to go, is this cancer? And they go, no, you just have a bumpy head and it sucks. The kind of the way that it's shaped a little bit. Oh, what did someone say? Lotus last night said it's kind of like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Indiana Jones. So it's like just just have this anger of like, it stinks that his head's just kind of normal looking,
He's got normal head. I will say and it's courage, right? The frequency with which this man shaves the entirety of his head is staggering to me.
Yes.
Because the idea of other people doing like that, like that's it. You do it the one time and it doesn't come back.
Uh-huh.
I know people my age who have done this and then it does not come back, and they're
Right.
washed, right? Obviously, but like he'll just do it. He'll just shave his whole head, and then it'll
Yeah.
come back. He'll have hair. He'll have hair by May.
Yeah.
which is crazy.
It feels really. Here's the thing I miss about it, because I won't do it again unless I have like surgery again. Whenever I have surgery, I usually buzz my head because having long hair when you can't really bathe yourself for a couple weeks kind of stinks.
Yeah.
But like so I won't do it again unless I have some kind of surgery. But it's like I miss doing it because it feels so good
To remove
to not have hair. To not have hair. To me, it just feels really, because sometimes I get claustrophobic with my own hair, which by the way, there there's a long form, I think it's like an 80 question like autism self examination. And I started to take it this morning because as a goof, because Hassan took it and scored like off the charts or whatever, and it was really funny.
Super autistic.
Yeah. But I started taking it, and like there were there were questions in it that I was like, I was offended I had been asked, and I was like, I don't need to know the score of this one because I'm pretty sure I don't need to know. And it's like, do I really think so? I don't know. But some of these questions definitely have an answer that's going to get scored heavily. And I was just like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. It took me back to my childhood. It was like, do you care more about kind of how clothes look, or do you care more about how they kind of feel on your body? And I was like, no, I care about how they look. And then I was like, hey, John, you remember when you graduated from preschool and you refused to wear a cap and gown like every other kid because you felt like you were drowning in it? You looked at an adult and said, I'm drowning, take this off of me.
Normal.
And I was like, normal. Also, that has never changed. Never changed.
That's deeply, definitely.
I still have that
stuff.
Just very funny. Anyway, my point is, when sometimes I get really like very impulsive thoughts of like, I really need to buzz my head because I feel crazy with all this hair. And I've really tried to tamp that down, but some days it gets really bad. It usually gets worse in the summer.
That's fair. It's hot.
Yeah,
then
it's hot
because then it kind of it sits.
It's hot, but I've been told by the people around me that it's just not a good look.
No, it's not a good move.
It's not a good move.
I've never seen you. I mean, since I've known you with not hair, but the one picture I have seen of you without hair, I don't think you should go back to it.
Yeah, it's kind of the photo I actually use when I do these kind of comparison shots of me, like as an adult versus when I was younger. It's like, you used to look like that. You used to choose to look like that.
Sometimes we do not need to return to history.
No, we don't. We don't need to return to history. I did see a guy last night in the TGAs that had facial hair that I wanted to take him to Turkey and just show him to one of those doctors and be like, I want this.
I want this.
Can I have that? Because it actually like fills in. It looks good, kind of at any length.
That's what you want.
That's kind of what I want, because I don't have that.
So one of the things that was, and I think it was because I haven't been outside around the line for the Game Awards before, because I've always been. Oh, hello.
I can still hear you. I'm typing something.
There was I just knew you were there because of the faint buzz. and then the fake buzz went away.
It went away.
I have no idea if the tab has crashed.
No, I just have to.
I can't.
I know
see
you can't see me. Yeah, I have to click clack for a second, so I'm just gonna mute myself.
For sure. I haven't been around the line for the Game Awards in a while. So when I was I went to the bathroom at some point during the pre-show. It might have been after the pre-show. No, it was before the pre-show. I went into the bathroom and I was washing my hands, and this guy came up to me while I was in the bathroom, which I hate. I don't think that you should be allowed to talk to people in the bathroom. I think that like in a perfect world, the bathroom is more quiet than the library. You should not be able to talk in there.
Yeah, I used to I used to think it was okay to kind of do little quips at people at the mirror, and I've really stopped that. I don't think it's
you
good.
can't. I don't think I went to the bathroom at Giant Bomb at night, and when I was washing my hands, the two people went in. One person went into a stall, and one person went to the urinal. And then they were having a whole ass conversation
talking to each other
from the stall to like from behind the stall to the and I was like,
I've done that before.
I should eliminate both of you.
I've done that before.
Unfucking believable.
Yeah, I've done that before. It's not good. It's not good. It's once I saw other people doing that, I was like, oh, I really can't ever do that again. It's not a good vibe.
I don't think that eliminating waste is shameful, but going to the bathroom is. Does that make sense? I don't think that like you should be able. I just don't think you should talk in there. Anyway, this guy comes up to me. I will make. I'll make phone calls on the toilet. That's fucking crazy.
But here's what's crazy is that you know what's so wrong is that I'll make phone calls. I'll make phone calls on the toilet. But then I'm like, I have to move heaven and earth to make sure they don't know I'm on the toilet, which should inform kind of the decision to do it in the first place. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, John. This guy comes up to me as I'm washing my hands, and he says, "Are you going to the show tonight?" Which is when the words entered my mind initially, I was like, "What show could you possibly be talking about?"
There are so many options here.
I would not describe the Game Awards as a show. And I was like, "Is there another concert here? That would be crazy."
Right.
So then I go, "Oh, the Game Awards?" And he was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh, I mean, I'm not going. I mean, I'm working the show. Like, we've got the thing outside, and he was like, "Oh, okay, because I'm a seat filler and I don't know where to go." And I said, "Oh, well, I have no idea." But then I was like, "I am outside though." And
Did he think you were Jeff Keighley?
I have no idea who he thought I was. Literally no idea who he thought I was. And I go, "Okay, well, I don't know. But if you want to give me your number, and I find the seat filler line, I will let you know where the seat fillers go." Yeah. And I then thought, okay, now we're going to move out of the bathroom. So I start to motion towards the bathroom door so I don't have to exchange my phone number with this man in the bathroom. And he pulls out his phone and is like, "Okay, do you want to do the thing?" Because, on iPhones, you can tap them head to top to top, and it sends it.
Yeah.
So I had to do that in the bathroom, and it made me want to die. And then eventually I did find the seat filler line. And I texted him, and I said, "Here it is." And he was like, "Thank you." And I was like, "Enjoy the show." I looked in that seat filler line, John. Maybe 3% of the people in that line, 3, looked like they had any fucking idea what they were doing.
Right.
The rest of the people were very clearly hot people who received an email that was like, "Hey, there's this thing. Please come sit in these seats." And they were dressed up, decked out. Right. Had no fucking idea what they were about to do.
And I want to be so clear, I guess, because we're going to talk about a couple people that were at the show, and I just generally want to make a statement. If you saw Niki, if you saw the Giant Bomb people on the pre-show, they were really dressed nicely. There were some presenters last night that were dressed really, really nicely. Yeah. We still collectively dress like fucking shit. So all those hot people, seat filler hot people, were probably like, "Great, I'll actually wear something nice." And it's like, no, that's not the vibe. You need to wear, you need to wear a T-shirt that has Goofy with the fucking Triforce on it, with with a faux leather jacket that you got from Bonobos.
How many
yeah.
Indiana Joneses do you think I saw
Oh
yesterday?
my god. Fuck me running.
Because the
Yeah.
answer was 4. I saw
Yep.
4 bespoke Indiana Joneses.
Yeah.
But the thing, all of this is to say, the thing that this realization made me, or the thing that realizing what was happening in the seat flare line made me realize is that there will forever be a weird vibe around this show, as long
Right.
as, not to be crazy, as
Okay.
long as normal people are allowed at it. There is not an
Sure.
award show on the planet where there is uncertainty about who in the room matters or not.
Right.
You, at the Grammys, you know every single person in the
Is
room
connected
is
to the music
important
industry,
or is
right.
connected to the music
Yep.
industry in some
Yep.
fashion. At
Yeah.
the Oscars,
Oscars,
you
but
know
you're-
every single person is
The-
in the Academy.
The only randos you ever see at the Academy Awards are the couple times a year that, like, Bradley Cooper will, like, bring his mom.
Yes, exactly.
like,
and,
that's
and it's
it.
like the randoms are still associated, right? There, I would love to know the numbers, but I feel like it's 30% of the room is actually industry, and the rest of it is people off the street.
Yeah.
Which gives it a weird vibe because you're like, I don't know who you are or if you are important or not. And it also obviously changes the way that the show has to be run, and it changes what the show, like, blah 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 blah. But
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out why the format of the show is inherently flawed, and I think that's it. It's because there are people there who are, I don't want to be like not supposed to be there, but they are not the people who are being celebrated by the thing. And I think it was not until I knew that in the back of my head, but it wasn't until I was there in front of all of the people who were coming in, and I was looking at people who were dressed like Indiana Jones, and then also standing next to people with the goofy Triforce shirt, and then also people who, like, deeply tried yesterday. And I
Right.
was like, again, like, for me, right, like, I've been doing this for a while, I definitely saw hot people look at the people they were standing next to in line and then be like, huh.
What did they think they're there for? You're exactly right. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what's
Yeah.
going on? Like,
Right.
where am I? So,
yeah.
I
Am I in the
think
right place?
Yes. What is the situation? I was a person who was not there, John. What was the vibe going into it? What were you excited about, looking forward to? We knew a couple of things going in, you and I.
We knew a couple things, which I was excited to see those, and I had read a couple rumors about what FromSoft was up to. We knew CD Projekt Red was probably going to do something. It was probably The Witcher 4. The fact that they started with Witcher 4 and went straight into an Elden Ring.
Sure. No, so
expansion, not expansion,
yes,
but a standalone thing. It's
standalone,
like
expandalone,
like that was really wild. I wasn't excited really about much. I'll tell you again. I think, to your point, it's like I saw Merritt say something similar. It's like one of her most boomer coded things. This is like she thinks we fucked up when we stopped dressing up to go to the airport. And like I kind of agree. If only because I was like, okay, I saw Sydney. She did the pre-show thing. She was on the whatever. She always looks nice. They always try.
yes.
And I know this is fucking weird of me in a way, but I got kind of offended on her behalf that I think she's trying. And there's a legitimacy around that show that they're trying to express.
Yes.
And I just felt like I was like, most of y'all people don't know how to fucking behave in this audience.
No, for sure. Right.
You don't know how to show up to it. You don't know how to dress.
Yes.
I'm just thinking about if the Oscars were like, again, you're right. If the Oscars were 30% people walking in from the street who were just in Chinatown, getting pulled into Man's Chinese Theater, or wherever the fuck they do that show now. I don't remember where they do it, but it's like that would be weird.
It would
Like
be
I don't.
weird.
I like we can gatekeep a
No,
little.
a little bit,
Like
and
we can
so,
we can do it a little.
and so deeply, right? Like, I do think I don't want to give Jeff more
We
flowers.
gatekeep the wrong shit. We gatekeep the wrong shit. I guess is what I'm
No,
saying.
for sure.
Yeah.
This Game Awards, I think, is what Jeff thinks it is every year.
Right.
Which is to say that, like, there were deeply a handful of bullshit lulls, but like they were honestly
It was actually pretty. It was pretty good though.
It was pretty good, but the lulls were conveniently timed to be shit you didn't
Yes.
care about,
Yes.
right? Like they were paced out such that you could be like, oh, another time to go piss. It's a mobile game.
Yes.
And by the time you came back, actually something interesting was.
I got up to get a beer. I was stressed that I got up to do it. I got sidetracked on the way back from the garage and still got back, and it was in the middle of a bunch of bullshit.
No, for
so
sure.
I was like, oh,
Like,
okay, great.
It
Yeah.
was paced. This was the best paced one of these he's ever done.
Yes.
It was as if someone reminded him that it's on the fucking internet and he does not have a hard out.
Right.
Because the show ran 7 minutes long, and you know what? It was better for it. Nobody died. He didn't have to
Right.
play anybody off.
Right.
The people to be clear, there were also fewer awards handed out on
Actually
stage this
handed
year
out.
than there were last year.
Right.
But nobody got played off. The moments that he wanted to have of people standing on that stage, he had, and the show ran 7 to 9 minutes long, and nobody died about it. Like,
Yeah.
Normal, regular.
Yeah. Right.
But it is really, really odd to, and this is the thesis, right? It's like, it is actually not a celebration. It can't
No,
be.
it's not.
Because if it was, it would be for the people whom are being celebrated.
Right.
But it is not that.
It's not. Right.
So that's
yeah, when you
I think that
when
that's
you
basically
when you hand
why I walked
out
away.
when you hand out a Games for Change award in the pre-show, and Sydney's like, "Games for Change, here's the winner," and then you don't actually have any of those people like there to say thank you so much. And you're, like,
Yes.
it's like, okay, well then this isn't a celebration of anything.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And that was what I walked away from the show. It's separated from the announcements, I guess, but like from about the Game Awards as an institution, that's what I walked away from. And and to the point that you made, I understand what he's doing. If the venue was smaller and it was all people who were in the industry, that would be sick. Or he could institute a dress code, would probably bang, but he's never gonna do it. But
He's never gonna do it.
But if he was like, you can't, like, you simply cannot. But obviously that's impossible to enforce at a venue that is that big.
I know.
The culture is simply not there. But it's not impossible, right? Like, there are shows that happen all over the place where the people who are going to them are dressing up, right? It's just
Right.
culturally, for this audience, is not the move.
Right. Well, Lotus and LB were talking last night on the stream. Like, they were like, it is odd to me that no one has like gone to a designer and said, your design will be like legitimately a big audience.
Yeah.
A big audience of new customers thinking about fashion maybe for the first time because they're seeing a lot of stuff. And until I think that happens,
Yeah.
we're still going to see a bunch of riffraff bullshit.
It's a bunch of riffraff bullshit. It's a bunch of people who are like, oh, it's time to, like, time to put on what I think, not, and this, like, I'm gonna be very careful. Time to put on what I think is dressing up, and it's the suit that they had in high school.
It's 100%. And I want to be also very clear and just be self-effacing. I would be the worst dressed person at the event. In my head, I would be the worst dressed person there. And then it would just be like, okay, yeah, he looked like shit, but it's like he just wore the only suit that fits him, that is the one he got married in, you know.
No.
But it's like, but I started thinking about it last night. I was like, no, like that would be fun to go
Yes, like
buy
making
some
up,
shit.
but I right, like yes, but that part of the culture is not there because it's
It's not there.
It's not important because that's not what the show is. If the
Right.
show necessitated it,
Right.
then I think people would make the move. But you can get in the door for $30.
Right. Yeah.
So like, no.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
people
yeah.
aren't gonna
yeah,
do
yeah,
it. They're
yeah.
gonna show up
Yeah.
in their goofy Triforce shirt,
Mhm.
and they're like their pleather Triforce jacket. Like that's the move.
And for folks that might be bristling at some of this, just look at the fucking tweets that you're going to see from the BAFTA awards, like
No,
the
dude,
pictures of the
exactly.
event.
Like,
Like
that is
the
night and
BAFTAs
day.
celebrate. It's like
Yes.
night and day. People show up to
Yeah.
that thing and they're like, "We're being celebrated. We're being like." We're in a ballroom. We're all these round tables. We're dressed up. We're here to give speeches. We're here to actually recognize our peers, and everyone dresses up for that shit, and they look
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
But this is
Different-
just some.
different events.
It still feels like it's like being like, you know, it's being broadcast from the past on Spike TV. You know,
Yes.
it's like it still feels like
Yeah.
there's some of that,
Yeah,
and it makes me feel
every
crazy.
year it feels like a more expensive cable TV broadcast.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
that's mostly what it is.
It's the best one of these he's ever done, and it still felt fucking
Still
insane.
kind of whack. Do you think that he realized that I thought the graphics package was really good yesterday on the stage, but do you think that he realized that the 80s one with the award doing this that looked exactly like the Netflix curtains?
Oh,
Do you know what I'm
it
talking
did.
about?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you
yeah.
think he
it did.
realized that before
No.
he showed up to
I
the
don't think
thing?
so.
Because every single shot of a presenter standing in front of it when that version of the screen was on, it was like, oh, so Netflix is doing it.
Netflix
It looked
is-
exactly like the
Yeah.
Netflix curtains
Yeah.
after the Tadum.
Yeah.
It was very funny to me.
Yeah, that's really funny. Let's talk about what we liked about the show.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the stuff that we liked. I still have some beef I want to kind of dig up about this thing, but I'll just start with we mentioned it earlier. Witcher 4. Not a huge surprise, but what was surprising. What was surprising is that it was really big. It was really long.
It was really
introduces-
it was really long.
It was
Like,
really
it was
long.
really
It was
long.
surprisingly long. It very clearly introduces Ciri as the new protagonist of The Witcher going forward, which I think is a net positive. I love
Geralt
Geralt.
is still in it though.
Geralt's voice is still in it. They have not confirmed the role that he has, but they've confirmed that he is in it. They haven't said if he's alive or dead. My guess is like he is
probably
alive. He's
I think
probably
he's
old.
just washed.
Yeah, he's just old and washed. And he'll probably have some sort of part in the thing. Anyway, I was really into that. The memory I had totally memory hold was that LB Hunktears, friend of the show and who was on the stream last night, played a ton of Witcher 3 and loved it, which I didn't remember at all. So we were both very excited about that. And it went right into the Elden Ring Nightreign,
Nightreign.
which is going to be a co-op forward standalone experience from FromSoft.
Hell
That
yeah.
I
Hell
I
fucking
think
yeah,
is
dude.
gonna be kind of neat. Like I described it like halfway through the trailer. I was like, "This is like a Monster Hunter,
Yes.
but for Elden Ring," which is very, very. I want to be clear. If you don't play, like, there is a multiplayer element in Elden Ring, but
Yeah.
you basically have these boss fights where you could basically summon someone and they can come help you during it, and so it's kind of very like curtained off kind of thing. And this seems more like an open drop in, drop out experience.
This feels like the game came out, they saw the seamless co-op mod come out, and they were like,
Oh shit, we could do that.
We
We
could
could
do
probably
that.
make. We could probably
We
make
probably
a.
could-
We could
yeah,
probably
probably
make
we could just
$100
do
million
this.
if we just do
Yeah,
this.
if we just do this. So, I mean, and then they did, right? So
Yeah.
like, I'm amped about this. Some of the most fun I had with Elden Ring was when I was playing it in seamless co-op earlier this year. So amped about it, excited.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually have the game like very critically. The game is not designed for that mod, right? Like it gets very sick very quickly.
It
Like
gets
it doesn't
super sick.
scale correctly. Like none of it feels right. So
And
have the
so they
game
could go.
actually.
They
Yes.
can be like, oh, we can make that work.
Yes.
Which is great.
This is exciting.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I was intrigued that they brought that up. I want to focus on Capcom for a second. They reintroduced us to
Dude.
Onimusha, which is very exciting. Onimusha is a early era PlayStation 2 relic samurai demons. Very exciting. It looks just, frankly, like they're going to take that formula, take kind of the FromSoft thing. For a nanosecond, I thought it was Sekiro, but it was just Onimusha. So that's exciting. But the more exciting bit for me is the introduction of the Okami sequel with Kamiya as the director, which I'm very excited about. Did you play Okami? I can't remember.
I love the video game Okami. I cannot wait for this. The first 10 hours are bad. However, the rest of the game is excellent.
It's really good. I totally agree with you. It's funny. That's definitely one of those that I'm like, yeah, the first 10 hours is not as good, but it's okay. And I'll say it with a straight face.
No, for sure.
Even though, like, whenever anyone else says that, I'm like, no, no, no.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
But Okami is great.
I hope the game is called Okami Sequel.
Me too.
Can you fucking imagine if the box has the words Okami Sequel on it? That would rule.
And it has the IGN watermark on it,
Yeah,
like the Wii version.
Yeah,
that'd be really funny.
Great. They should do that.
For those who don't know, it was introduced last night with big drum solo. It was very dramatic. The orchestra comes in. You start to see some paint swirlies on the screen. Then it coalesces into the wolf running through a field that says Okami Sequel. That's all it says, which is very funny. So we have. I don't think it gave any sort of date or anything like that, but
it feels like it's a while away.
Yeah, and for those of us who were progressive enough to actually play a great game this year called Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess.
I love being on the right side of history.
We were I do too. We were pretty sure that something was going to happen with Okami because there was a direct tie-in. Thematically, there's a lot of similarity here. There are a lot of visual design elements that kind of share a common language. So it's like they're reintroducing us to a vibe here. And I'm very happy that they're bringing Okami back. I think that original game is excellent. If you like The Legend of Zelda at all, those kinds of games, Okami is a really excellent riff on that formula.
The HD one is on Xbox and PC and the PlayStation.
I think you could get it pretty much on anything.
Yeah, it's great. The Switch is probably America's best place to play Okami.
Yeah. Agreed.
If I was trying to look for a Switch game that I didn't have. Now, John, are you sure it's on the Switch?
I'm not sure. Let's look.
Okami Switch.
Okami
HD is $19. Not to be crazy, gang, but that's a great $20.
That's a really great
$20 to spend. It's $5.
It's actually $5. Yeah,
right now.
That's incredible. Wow, I can't believe Nintendo got 2 sales of a fucking 15-year-old game. I have no idea how old this game is anymore. 2 sales of this game. This game is on sale for $5 until
the 31st.
Until 2 a.m. Central Time on New Year's Day.
I'm about to pay 9 cents for this video game because I have
because you got some gold points. Okami HD is a game that if you have not played it, you should go play it right now. It is a gorgeous game. Still has art direction for miles, and it's wonderful. So I think I think pound for pound, and that's a good segue for the game I want to talk about next. Pound for
That's
pound,
right,
that might be my
Borderlands.
most that might be my most exciting announcement from last night. But in a very close second was the return of Virtua Fighter.
Dude,
That trailer was great.
excited for you.
I was man, it was so funny. Someone said because the studio name popped up, and I was like, well, it's probably some Yakuza bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Not that like I like Yakuza bullshit, but I was like,
Yeah.
we've had 8 of them in the past 12 months, so I just
No,
like
for
you know I'm
sure.
like, all right. And by the way, the Yakuza game they did announce actually looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks great.
So it looks great. But when they did that, someone started to say like it might be Virtual Fighter, and I was like,
Yeah.
no. And then the guy that they showed is wearing a hat and like an outfit I didn't recognize did one of Akira Yuki's moves from the. And then I was like, no way. And they had
It's
the
Virtua
letters on the
Fighter.
screen. It said Virtua Fighter. And then there was like a clip, although it looked like it had been recorded over someone's shoulder from a weird angle. I don't know if anyone caught that. It just looked kind of strange. An actual fight between Akira and Sarah. Now, I want to just go a little deeper here. Nikki, you probably did not watch. I'm going to guess you did not stay up at Giant Bomb and go, okay, listen, I know we're partying or whatever, but I'm going to sneak away and watch the Virtua Fighter Direct that happened right after that.
I didn't, John. I did
But
not
I
watch
did.
the Virtua Fighter. What'd you
I
learn?
did do that. I learned a few things. One is that the president of NVIDIA, who was doing the AI shit that everyone hated,
Yeah.
he talked about the game for some reason. And
What?
then a Saudi guy who's like Prince Al bin Salman the second or whatever, who
Okay.
runs the esports fund, he was like,
Yeah.
I love this too. And I'm like, oh man, y'all got like back to back people I don't want to hear from about this one. And then they go and interview Yu Suzuki, the creator of Virtua Fighter, who like doesn't really have anything to do with it anymore. And he's like, yeah, I guess make a new one. That sounds cool. And I'm like, wow, y'all are like kind of fumbling this thing that I'm really
It
excited
would have been
about.
better if you said nothing.
If you had said nothing. But here's the thing that's really vexing is that they showed Akira and Sarah, the blonde-haired lady character that has been in these games since its inception. They do a close-up of her face, and they put a thing up that says, "This is Stella." And I'm like, huh? And they're like, this is Stella. And I'm like, that's Sarah Bryant, the
Yeah.
character y'all made that's
So-
been in the games forever. And this is the mystery of the day for Virtual Fighter fans of being like, what's happening?
What's happening? Who is?
You've
so
done
wait,
this
who is it?
whirlwind of introductions of people I really don't want touching this franchise. And then you're like, smash zoom to the girl from the game that we all know, and it's like, this is Stella. It's like if Miyamoto showed up and was like, all right, here's this new game. It's from the Mario franchise. Aren't you excited? Smash zoom to Mario's face. It's like, this is Greg. I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You can't do that. Like, I don't understand it. I mean,
Because RGG made the remaster, right? Of the,
Yes.
They did the okay. Is she Sarah in that one?
yes.
Interesting.
So the
Interessante.
only I think the only real explanation, because
Daughter?
what's yes, but the time jump doesn't look big enough for Sarah Bryant to have had a daughter that's that old. So I'm vexed. I'm vexed and
feeling-
perplexed.
Is there magic and science in Virtual Fighter?
There is science in it. I wouldn't say that there's magic. They did
Okay.
make a metal
Time
lady
machine?
out of Kage's mom.
Okay, interesting.
They took Kage's mom and they're like, we're gonna make you metal.
Okay.
And she's
Did
like,
she
I'm metal
want
now.
that?
No, no one wants it. No,
That's
no.
tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they're okay.
I hope they're
moving
okay.
forward.
The more immediate news around Virtua Fighter is that Virtua Fighter 5 Revo, which is basically the final ultimate we're not doing anything else to this thing
We're
with
done.
Virtua Fighter 5. We're
Leave us
done.
alone.
It is getting it's got a beta that's going right now. I played like 5 matches of it last night on my Steam Deck. It runs beautifully on Steam
Hell
Deck.
yeah.
So if you want to get this thing on Steam and play it, that's very cool. And a bunch of the updates that they have in Revo, though I don't think all of them. I don't think there's rollback in the Ultimate Showdown. But there is rollback in Revo. There is rollback in
that's
Revo,
good.
but not. But they released some updates for the PS4 version, which most people have now. Anyway,
Sweet. Great.
that was the most. That was I was very excited about that.
I was excited about Project Robot, which is the Eco Shadow of the Colossus
Okay.
Lands game.
Yes.
This was a huge show for Austin Walker. Every
It
other
was a
fucking,
huge show.
Every other fucking thing had a mech in it.
Yeah. The only way it could have gone better is if like Dragon's Dogma 3 had been announced
Yeah, it
and
was
also
somehow
released.
announced. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That game looked sick. I watched somebody else play Shadow of the Colossus and know about Eco in the last
Great
Guardian.
game. I've still not played Last Guardian. I think Shadow of the
That
Colossus
bird
is.
seems annoying to me.
I think Shadow of the Colossus is top 5 PlayStation 2 game. I think Eco is wonderful. It's really good. It's hard. It's frustrating, but it's good. I'm really excited about that game. I actually I actually did think that trailer was great, but I'm very excited about that game.
I think I'm just like it seems to have the vibe seems correct for when it like
The
feels
vibe is definitely
considered.
correct.
Like
Yeah.
there were a handful of trailers yesterday, like the Turok one, which I'm sure we'll talk about, where it kind of feels like
Nikki, there is not a game I was planning on talking about less than the new
the
Turok.
Turok. Oh.
Because that's going to be a nothing burger. I said last night as that was happening on the stream, I was like, some games should just kind of be stuck in the era in which they were invented, I think. Like, I don't think we need a new Turok.
I understand. Here's my pushback on this. It is fucking sick to shoot the idea of shooting a dinosaur with a gun.
Yeah.
Rules. So
Yeah.
like I'm kind of all for it. The thing that threw me is that I didn't know that Universal owned Turok.
I didn't either.
When it's Saber Interactive and the Universal
Universal,
came up,
yeah.
and I was like, okay. And then there were dinosaurs, and I was like, Jurassic Park. And then they were shooting the dinosaurs, and I was like, I don't think
that's
this is
not Jurassic Park. Yeah.
And then it was Turok, and I was like, I didn't know they owned that.
You
But
don't,
at
you don't
some
remember
point-
that scene where Bryce Dallas Howard gets a rifle? And she's just like, dun, 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 dun.
So I don't know. I have fond memories for Turok because it was a good game when I was 9.
Right.
Like the idea of like having a gun and shooting a dinosaur is I think good.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be nothing, but also it might be nothing in a way that like to me Space Marine is nothing.
Right.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
like it's the same studio. It's
Yeah.
Saber Interactive. They make good PlayStation 2 games.
Yes. Yeah.
And if this is a good one of those, then it might actually kind of have legs.
Yeah. Yeah, it
so-
looks like a co-op third-person action
Yes.
game, which is cool. But going back to Project Robot just for a nanosecond, I think introducing sci-fi elements to this, I'll take a small leap and kind of guess as to the gameplay of this, because really all you saw was the player character presumably climbing a mech in time to see some sort of cataclysm happen. The top of the mech has a head that basically ejects from the body and flies away in order to basically save the pilot.
Jets.
The ears are the jets. I'm going to guess that the central conceit of this is basically flying around with this head attaching itself to these homunculi in order to solve problems, and then you basically abandon them during some sort of destruction.
That
Would be
seems
very thematically
correctamundo
consistent.
to me.
But it looks cool. They made a big I swear Jeff said something about gameplay but maybe he said engine because he
He
was
said
like,
in-engine.
he did, okay, he said in
Yeah.
engine. So it looked great. I guess I weirdly heard in engine and was like, okay, cool, we'll see some gameplay. And we really didn't see that.
Yeah. No. Did you like Divorce Game, John?
I didn't play enough of Divorce Game to have an opinion about it, to be honest.
I liked Divorce Game.
A lot of
I'm
people
talking
did.
about It Takes Two. Game of 2020's Game of the Year.
Game of the year.
It Takes Two. Is that right? It was 2020?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. I thought that game was good. Their next one is called Split Fiction. And I'm like amped about it. Not like it's a boring
2021.
2021. Okay, that makes more sense because of the pandemic. I'm amped about Split Fiction. Which is the new game from Hazelight. It seems like they are just gonna do the Astro Bot thing, which is, well, every level can just be a different video game a little bit.
Right.
And it seems like there are shooter sections, there's RPG sections, it looks like there's the classic, like, we're both running towards or we're away from the screen situation.
A ton of gameplay variety, yep.
A lot of different stuff. The writing in these is like, it's very much, they fly now.
Yeah. He's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I really do have a soft spot in my heart for like very intentional co-op experiences. Because I think that it's like a really good way to share the medium with a person who might not otherwise want to enjoy or do the medium or feels intimidated by it or whatever. So I really do have a soft spot for these games. So I'm amped about Split Fiction.
Yeah, I think that looked good. I was I was struck by how much it, like, I watched most of that trailer and went like, man, a lot of games kind of look the same now, huh?
No, for sure.
Which bummed me out because the gameplay variety of this game looks very interesting to me.
And then they announced
but there were still
another one of these, like not from this studio, but another like
co-op.
two-player
Yeah, right.
situation that is exactly the same vibe.
That was
like
called
very much
Stage-
like an
that was Stage Fright, right?
Fright, yes.
Yeah.
Or I
Stage O Fright.
Stage O Fright. That's what we also thought it was.
Yep. Because the I in fright is very big and in between the two words. So all of us on stream are like, Stage of Fright. Pretty much right away. Yeah.
But it is Stage Fright. So they announced another one of those, and it's like it seems to be kind of the same situation.
Yeah.
So yeah. Did you play Outer Wilds? I'm on the Outer Worlds. I'm on IGN.com. You ever heard of this website? Michael Himes, IGN.com.
Michael Himes, IGN.com. Yeah, I played Outer Worlds. I thought it was mid.
Yeah.
Mid.
I also agree. They're making another one though, so.
They're making another one. It seems like a little more robust to me.
Yeah.
But
kind of
the thing I can't get past though, for me, and this is a very personal thing, is the tone.
The tone is
I
rough.
don't like the
tone
tone
is rough.
of these games.
The trailer did kind of make me go, oh, okay.
Man.
Like, all right. Like, relax. But, I mean, good year for Obsidian. They'll have 2 games come out. Grub yesterday was saying that this game got pushed up because another game got pushed back. And it's unclear whether that game is Fable or the other one, Perfect Dark. I would guess that it's Fable.
I mean, you could flip a coin on that one though,
No,
because
for sure.
I'm like, man.
Yeah,
you want 2 vaporware ass games. Yeah, I'm like, could be either one.
Yeah. But I would actually put money on Fable because they kind of they pushed Fable. If you look back at when they were pushing Fable, it was not this year but last year. And usually the ramp up is you give them 2 years, so the game, you do the first cinematic trailer 2 years out, then you do the gameplay trailer the year before, and then the game comes out, is usually how the cycle goes. But then if I'm trying to look at the calendar and try to anticipate when that game was supposed to come out, that feels like a fall 2025 2025 release for Fable, or should have been, and then or early 2025 release. I mean, and then it seems like it got pushed. So
It got pushed.
this game
probably.
got moved up, and it's coming out next year, sometime. So good for them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Outer Worlds 2 is that at worst, it's going to be a perfectly competent
Bethesda
first-person role-playing, essentially a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
And if you really love those, this will be a really fun, 20-hour experience for you.
And I think
and I wanted more from Outer Worlds. It's not fair. It's not a fair expectation to hoist upon the studio of Obsidian. But, I happen to think Josh Sawyer and his team made what was close to a perfect video game with Fallout New Vegas. And you just kind of want to see them do it again. And one, they may not want to do that. They may want to do different things and all this stuff. So, I get that. I just really wanted it to be that, and it really wasn't for me.
And
so.
I'm deeply curious, right? Like, this is the first one post Starfield, right?
Yes.
Because the first one came out before Starfield. So I am cautiously optimistic, I think, for a little bit of a more splitting of the difference between the first one of these and a New Vegas and a Starfield. I'm hopeful that it is one of those, but also it could just be another one of the first one.
It could be another one.
We'll see.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
I know you fucking lost your shit when you saw Abby Last of Us Part 2 hit your screen. And you were like, I can't wait to play The Last of Us Part 2 remastered on my personal computer. And you turned off your stream and you went to Steam and you said, give me 8 copies, Gabe. And on April 3rd, 2025, you'll run all 8 copies of The Last of Us Part 2 remastered on your personal computer. And I'm excited for you.
I think my actual reaction live was, what are we doing? I think that's actually close to what I did. I'm like, this is now the Naughty Dog segment of the TGA. So yeah, they're doing Last of Us 2 remastered PC. Whatever.
Whatever,
dude.
So fucking deeply. Whatever, dude.
It is. And like, I am. The pump is primed for me to kind of be an automatic hater on stuff that Neil Druckmann and a lot of this team does. So I want to fully acknowledge that, and dear listener, if you're a really big fan of their stuff, just it's like it's just not me. But I don't think it is good, genuinely.
No, for sure.
I don't think it is good for a team to do what they're doing with The Last of Us so much that I think even really in touch, finger on the pulse press people have honestly lost track about how many versions of this game that there are.
Yeah.
I think it's a strange thing to do.
I
don't really get it. I think having this many SKUs,
dude, it's impossible
is
to
odd to
understand
me.
whether or not you're getting the right version of the video game.
Yeah.
Which is nuts because there have only been 2 of them. Can you
Right.
there are only 2 of them and there are 8 SKUs.
There are 8
not literally 8 SKUs.
Well,
but,
they're 6. I think there are
SKUs,
6.
right?
Yeah.
That's crazy for 2 video games. That's nuts.
For 2 video games we're only talking about a span of what, 11 years, something like that. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's weird. That's weird.
I disagree with the existence of the product. Is how I feel.
You mean in the crib or as it is now? Like you disagree with Last of Us, like strangle it in the crib kind of thing?
Yeah. No, for
okay,
sure.
Listen,
As soon as
listen.
we should've
You and
just
I
put that shit in
agree.
the toilet.
I mean, we agree on that. And if someone had come in and be like, "Listen, they're zombies, but they're mushroom people, I would have been like,
fuck off.
this is
Try
DOA,
again.
Neil.
Go back. Go
This is
back.
DOA, Neil. Go back.
But
Make
then
fucking
Neil-
Jack 4.
But then Neil said, "But what if you ever heard of a brand? And what if they
Mm.
had brands in space?" And then now, John, what's the name of the
Yeah.
game? What is the name of the game? Are you looking at it? It doesn't
No, I'm
count if
not.
you're looking at it.
I'm not.
What is the game called?
It's called Intergalactic. The Prophet Heretic.
Hold on, let me scroll to see if that's correct. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet.
I was close.
Awful video game name.
It is
like
awful.
Staggeringly bad. I hope to Christ that this video game does not come out and is called this.
Yeah.
Like one of the worst video
It's a
game titles
really bad title.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. I kind of was into it.
I'll tell you my experience with this trailer. It was, we saw a ship in space and it had the word Porsche on the back of it.
It's a Porsche.
And I immediately went, what the fuck is this Ready Player One bullshit? Okay. And then we had some moments on the ship and a conversation and as it went on, I was like, all right, okay, like it's a version of space from a human Earth that is expanded with the kind. There was a Sony music player on board.
There's a crazy Adidas shoe shot.
Yeah.
where she's like putting pedals on the spaceship, which
I
is
was
like
I was disgusted, but I was also admittedly I'm like, if this is kind of window dressing for a specific story you're telling,
yeah.
about like the way humans have expanded into space on our timeline, I'm like, okay,
Helpful.
okay, sure.
As grounding tools in a tone trailer, like legitimately helpful.
The problem for me,
Yes. Is the name of the game. And then
well, the name of the game was bad, but the problem for me is that she's like, all right, time to zoom in to this planet where they say that it's dangerous. And then the first thing you see is just a fucking, I don't know, like a fucking Dark Souls looking fucking standoff with a boss.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I wanted or expected, but it wasn't that. I felt like I wanted a more interesting snapshot into what this was. And now I'm like, okay, so this looks like a game that we've played before then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks like every other video game. So
It
like
kind of,
which is
it
a
kind of looked like nothing I had played.
yes,
in a lot
and
of
then
ways.
Very suddenly,
And then
it was every
very
other
suddenly
video
it was
game.
every other video game I've played.
So, which is tough. Like that's just tough, right? So it's like, if it is such a bummer if this is another PlayStation game. You know?
What? I mean, that's
Like,
what it is.
Like,
That's what it's going to be.
But like, no, right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if it's just another behind the back, third
Yeah.
person, slow walk and talk, which is what Naughty Dog's thing is now, that it's a bummer. But if they get closer, if they go back to Jack,
Like, genuinely, I'm
yeah.
not kidding. Naughty Dog pre Last of Us,
yes, they made
I'm
good fun
fucking
games.
there.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even really an Uncharted person, but I'm like, there's at least some fun there that I'm interested in. And the
There's
Jack
fun
Jack
in-
series legitimately
Yeah.
is one of my favorites. Like
Yes.
if you haven't played it, they made a I'm gonna say it now, an on par with Mario level platformer one, and then they made two really strange sequels that started to bring in like guns and stuff, and like a weird kind of like edgelord future, but it still kind of worked.
Still kind of worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? I do have a little faith because the PlayStation game that won this year was a Nintendo game. I do wonder if there will be more space for PlayStation Studios to make non-PlayStation games.
It would be really interesting to
I
see
think that
if
would
that
be
happens.
nice.
I think that would be nice.
So we'll see.
Let's talk about that for a second then. Astro
Yeah.
Bot won Game of the Year.
Yay.
I liked Astro Bot.
Astro Bot cleaned up.
Yeah. Balatro did win Best Indie.
Best debut and best indie.
Best debut and best indie. Which is two odd categories that coexist.
Yes.
And I'm going to say, again, I'll repeat it because I said it on a stream a few weeks ago. Odd that best game direction and game of the year are two different things. Because in games, I think those things are pretty much the same thing.
Yes.
And case in point, the nominees were the exact same for both categories.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, well, game direction is kind of like second place. And I was like, no. I think Astrobot's going to win both of these, and they did.
Yeah,
Very weird. I'm okay. I think the Astrobot thing is a little safe. It's a little boring.
Yeah.
But it is a wonderful game. It's one of the best
happy with
games of
it.
the year. Happy with it. I wish Balatro had won one of
That would've been
those.
cool.
But still the fact that Balatro is fucking everywhere right
Yeah, they
now.
cleaned up. They got three awards.
They got 3 awards, and they've got a fucking cyberpunk tie-in. They've just got a lot of stuff going on that seems good for them. So, Anyway.
Yeah, huge for local funk, who I very much am like, got it, you fucking own. To have made one of the biggest video games of the year, deeply the biggest surprise of the year, and being like, I don't want any of this.
I don't want it.
I don't want to do it. Give me my checks so I can hang out with my family at my house. Fuck yes, yes, hell yeah, brother. So that's cool. That's good. Good for local funk, and then the rest of the PlayStack team. Because
that was great.
You love a win. You know.
You love a win. All right, let's talk about the small elephants in the room. One, there was they got rid of the future class stuff, which is very funny to me. And they gave out an award for game changers, and they gave it to a person named Amir Sat. Oh wow, I knew I was going to do this. Satvat, excuse me.
Yes.
Amir Satvat, who created a large spreadsheet of like openings for people who were affected by layoffs and all that stuff, and they gave this award to him. I want to be so clear. The criticisms I'm about to kind of lob at Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards have very little to do with Amir Satvat, who seems like a helpful person, perfectly nice person. This has pretty much nothing to do with him. I thought it was such a fucking limp dick, like nod to these things happening. It is the equivalent of your dad telling you, "Have you thought about just taking your resume into a business?" And and it's like it felt so gross.
It felt like a consultant somewhere was like, okay, we can't have this person get canceled.
No,
so we got to pick the safest.
And unbelievably safe, because I also want to say, like, I didn't know who Amir Satvat was because I was already aware of 5 other people that were doing roughly the same thing that he was doing. And there's nothing wrong with recognizing Amir for this, but I was also like, well, there are a lot of people who do this, like create job boards and have job boards and all this stuff, and that is a very small part of what needs to be done to correct the things that are happening.
It is celebrating the fact that we invented, like, it's celebrating the fact that we invented bandages for gunshot wounds, and then being like, well, we did it.
Well, we did it.
We did it.
We did it. Just remember, if you've got a gunshot wound, there's a bandage out there for you.
It's like, no, hold on.
No. What if we stop firing the guns? What if we had what if there were fewer bullets flying at us?
Yeah,
It's like,
what if we said something about
but this guy's making
that
bandages.
part? Yeah, and how cool those bandages are. Those bandages
Yeah.
have healed 3,000 people, John.
Right.
So yeah, it was tough. And it is again not an impossible, we're doing it right now, but it is like an unbelievably difficult thing to criticize, right? And that's intentional.
Yeah, and no one wanted to do it. Like this morning when I posted about it on Blue Sky, it started a deluge of people being like, "Oh fuck, thank God someone actually said something about like how weird that was." And I'm like yeah, like I didn't think I thought I was less cynical than I am. But I woke up this morning to a lot of people being like, frankly, pretty happy and complimentary about that happening and about what the CEO of Larian said when he was presenting Game of the Year, which essentially he said, and I think this is part of it, he said, like, if you just make a game ethically and it's good and you care about what the players think, like, isn't that good enough? And I'm like, that's a great post-it to put on your fucking desk, but, like, it doesn't move the needle for anybody in that room.
Yeah.
The Sony executives watch this don't give a fuck about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You could be 100% correct. Not even a little bit do they fucking care.
Yeah.
They don't care. The thing is broken fundamentally. It's not like you might as well just be talking to a private group of people that are like, you're giving a pep talk about how to make their next game. It's like, yeah, for me and my friends who are making games and shit now, it's like, that's great. But it's like, I didn't think it was that useful. And I didn't think recognizing a mirror Sapphire was that useful.
Yeah, it is biting with no teeth. It's all gums, right? Like there's no...
Yeah.
It's the illusion of doing something, but nothing is actually being done to change anything, right?
Yeah.
Which again.
What do we expect?
Well, yes, deeply. What do we expect? But also, it's not the space, right?
Right.
If the awards show was actually about celebrating the people at the awards, right. The ways that it would be tangible would be that there would be less people in the room every year. Right?
Yeah.
And like that's scary. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have that when you can buy a ticket and show up for $30 and dress like Indiana Jones.
Correct. That's really, really
because
smart.
the people who are in there don't know or care, because when they are watching the thing, the Elden Ring thing is coming out. Okami 2 is coming out.
Right.
It doesn't matter. As far as they're concerned, the video games are still coming out.
Right.
The human cost of it is not, it does not matter to them.
No.
But again, yeah, like if you could look in your audience and tangibly see faces that were not there the year prior because they no longer had job, which is like, obviously it still is true, right? Like I don't mean to say that there were not people here last year who were not here this year, because like that is the case, right?
For sure.
But like, if you looked out there and you were like, well, the EA, well, I don't know, the Xbox Microsoft contingency that they send out every year is 30% smaller than it was last year. Now that's weird. What's that about, gang? You don't get that. That doesn't happen. And the consequences of it are not visible at this show.
Right. Yeah.
It exists in a bubble, which is why, like at the top of the show, I was like, this is what Jeff Keighley thinks every single one of these is like. Except for that one year where he was like, gang, don't expect anything. Was that last year?
Yeah, that was really wild. He's like, I think it was last year.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I kind of fucked this one up pretty bad. So,
but like,
didn't get a lot. Yeah.
He thinks it's this every year,
he
wants it to be this every year.
Right.
And if you accept that as his truth, then every single thing that happened at it makes it complete sense.
Yes.
That was him making a big statement. That is as big of a statement as he feels like he wants to and or is equipped to make.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, because I think fundamentally, and I mean, like obviously, I'm preaching to the choir for most of our listeners and for you certainly, but it's like, it's just again, just a full obvious notion that's like, Jeff Keighley believes this is just a normal cycle. This is normal. Like there's an ebb and the flow, and the games will always come out, so it's fine. Like it's just such the attitude of so many people in business that are just like, well, it's normal ebb and flow of business, and it is what it is. It's just like, well, we feel like there's a sickness here. We feel like there's a real clear answer of how to improve our conditions, and he doesn't really benefit from acknowledging that.
No, it doesn't do anything for him.
So, it's like, yeah, another year, another full, like, goofy press cycle, I'm included in it, of people going like, well, that was really disappointing and not very good. It's like, well, yeah, like, he's not going to give you anything.
No, for sure.
But the thing that he did give was so off the mark that it's noticeable. Like, that's the thing. It's just like, well, you don't get it, and you don't get it to a degree that feels insulting, and also drags a guy into it that
No, for sure.
it feels like might catch some strays, and you might listen to this and think he's catching strays from me, and that's not really what I'm saying. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I don't even think he was wrong to accept the award. Like, whatever. Like, it's
in the
fine.
least cruel way, he is not important in this.
Right. Yeah. Right.
In this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they'll find a different guy like him next year. And then the year after that, like, not to be crazy or
no, you're right.
He's doing,
no, but that's that's what I'm saying is that, like, I already knew other people that were doing this.
Exactly. Like, they'll find somebody else who's doing something that is almost basically the same next year, and the year after that, it'll be a girl. Like that's what we're talking about. To him, that aspect of it is interchangeable. Mm-hmm. It is you have to, he looks at the sheet and he's like, the woke windows are here and here, and I've got to find a guy I got to find a game for that, and I got to find a guy for this one. And then he fills the boxes in, and then that's it. So I don't know. I think this was the year, I think, where I had zero expectations for the show going into it. So at no point was I expecting anything different than the thing that I did end up getting.
That you got.
So when I walked away and I was like, this is the first time in a while where I was like, oh, the video games that were announced at this show, I'm like kind of amped about. I did not start considering the show until I went on my walk this morning. Right. And I was like, oh yeah, like it was in fact one of these again.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Do you want to talk about the Kinect thing that you showed me?
Dude. Let me go to the fucking. Let me fucking. What, I don't even remember what it's called.
It's Magic Leap 2.
I texted it to you, right?
Yeah, you did text it to me. I could go
Lauren,
look. No, it's in our
scrolling.
It's
called
also...
Next. It's called Gang. Stop what you're doing. Pull over.
Pull over.
I need you to go on Instagram or the computer and go to nextplayground.com. They've created a box that looks like an Ouya.
Yep.
It's a colorful Ouya, and it has
a really colorful Ouya with a camera on it.
And Gang, it's a Kinect. It just is a small Kinect. I got an Instagram advertisement from the guy I don't like on TikTok that does the face, and he does this. KB Lame from Fortnite. And Giannis playing Fruit Ninja. And I was looking at it, and at first I was like, this is a weird old ad for Fruit Ninja. Like, what? Like, who checked a box they should not have checked? And then I was like, wait, no. Giannis was... and then this is the thought that really fucked me up. I was like, Giannis wasn't around when Fruit Ninja came out.
No,
like,
he wasn't.
Deeply, Giannis was not a factor. Giannis was my age when Fruit Ninja came out. Like, I think Giannis and I are about the same age. I think he's 29 or 30.
Yeah.
So like Giannis and I were the same age playing Fruit Ninja. So like that timing didn't. And then I was like, what is this product? it is just a Kinect.
It's just a
And
Kinect.
I'm desperate. John, I did ask if anybody, I did yell at one point yesterday. I was like, does anybody work at Half Brick? And obviously it didn't work. I want to know if that is a port of the Kinect version of the game more than I want any other piece of gaming information.
Yeah.
I am desperate to know if they opened up, because there's no way Half Brick was like, yeah, let's fucking do. They got approached by these people and were like, hey, can you put Fruit Ninja on the box? And they said, yo, give us how much money? Yes. Because we've only made the one video game, Fruit Ninja, and we're still somehow milking this fucking cow. Did they double click on the Fruit Ninja parentheses Kinect version of the game, and then this is how game development works, right? They put it in a program that said put it on the next playground, and then it came out? Because that's I'm pretty sure what they fucking did. But this thing has like, they went a different route entirely. They just went, it's all licensed. So they have the Barbie license. They have a DreamWorks Shrek license. They have a Sesame Street license.
Right.
They have, there's like a general basketball. They've got Giannis in there, and then they have their own original.
They've got a game that looks like stylized exactly like Wii Fitness.
Yes. They've got Hungry Hippos. They've got Connect 4. Yeah. Like, it is. And then there's like the adult stuff, which is like gym workout style things. Right. And again, it's just a Kinect. Right. So if I'm Microsoft, I'm pissed. Right. Yeah. Like the idea that Microsoft could have just sold, because I actually don't even know.
Like a standalone Kinect box, it's $200.
Like,
it's $200.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I saw it added. I dropped everything. And I was like, John, look at this. The Kinect is back.
The Kinect is back, baby.
And if you work at Next,
I mean,
listening to the program.
These people they're updating their website about once a month. It looks like, it's like,
it seems to be a real product.
Seems to be a real product. You can get it in stores. Like in a big box store if you wanted to, which is kind of wild.
They sell it at Target.
Yeah, strange.
It won't come in time for Christmas if you order it on Amazon. So, which means that they sold out of them.
They sold out. Yeah, that means
that
they're back ordered, which is crazy.
So, yeah, I'm just shocked and so proud of the Fruit Ninja. I love when people make money on shit that they did ages ago.
I know,
so
it's really funny.
The idea that the Fruit Ninja team made that whack ass game 15 fucking years ago.
Their fucking spreadsheet of revenue sources must be
like
insane. It's just like, also just the line items of like every platform. It's like, and then like a couple of years ago, it's like Dave and Buster's. It's like, whoa. And then it's like fucking Nex. And it's like, whoa. It's so strange to me. It's so strange.
But yeah,
it's really wild.
I was shocked to see the Kinect come back.
The Kinect is back, everyone.
Did you see that Phil Spencer was stone faced, like he wanted to die when Astro Bot won Game of the Year?
Yes.
He was sitting front row, did not stand up, did not clap. Which is
insane. That is actually insane for a seat. Like, yeah, that's a great point. Because here we are being like, why? I wish CEOs weren't all the same and all blah blah blah. And then we see one CEO be a bitch, and we're like,
no,
whoa, what? It's so weird.
So much of it is like, and I actually do think it is tied into the conversation that we were having earlier about the fact that randos can come. The idea that a person that they didn't, and I guess you could argue that Phil has beef with Sony, whatever. That's not personal beef, is what I'm saying. The idea that the person who wins the movie that wins Best Picture comes out onto this stage.
Yeah.
Everybody in the room stands up and claps.
Right. But the producers of a different movie are like,
yes,
boo, it's like,
that
oh
would
my
be
God,
crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that happened yesterday. Astro Bot won. Phil Spencer, the Xbox man, no sold it.
No sold it. Completely no
What
sold
do you
it.
mean?
Yeah. Strange.
Act like you fucking been there before.
Yeah, strange. Well, but here's the thing, though. What on the horizon? I mean, genuinely, what on the horizon is Phil gonna be responsible for that wins that award?
Dog, do you know nothing?
Nothing.
Do you understand though that Indiana Jones missed the deadline by a week because they didn't realize
They didn't realize that they'll basically consider games that are released in December. There's like a dead month. Does everyone know that? There's a dead month. December is a weird dead month where if you make your game in December and release it, it's not going to be nominated for shit. Now, will they change the rules next year? Yes, but not for the reason you think. They will change it for Path of Exile 2 before they change it for Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is not winning Game of the fucking Year next year.
No, which is crazy. Which is not to be insane, but like, if you're Jeff Keighley,
right?
The thing that he did was he got Harrison to come out.
He got Harrison to come out.
He looked at the words that he was supposed to say on the teleprompter, and he said,
"I'm not going to say them. I'm good. I'm not going to say them." He looked down the barrel of a camera.
Hammered.
He was really. He was. I don't mean to be insensitive. He was either drunk, high, severely sundowning,
yes,
or just really angry. And I think it's a combination of all four.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's kind of all of them. I think he had a joint backstage. I think he had a couple drinks before. I think he is old as fuck.
Yes,
and he was up past his bedtime.
Full of plane crashes.
Yep. And also he saw the words and he was like, "Get me the fuck out of here." He's like, the biggest acting experience of my life is acting like I know who these two jackoffs are next to me for 5 minutes.
The best thing I don't know what it did say on the teleprompter, but Harrison Ford must have been asked to say something nice about what's the man's name?
Troy Baker.
And he was like, I think this guy did great.
Yeah. And then he said, if I had known he would be good at this, I would have done it myself. And then he looked down the barrel of the camera and saw some words that he didn't want to say, and he told him to keep rolling it. That's what happened. And I was just like, oh, man. Here's the thing also, and I got in trouble for saying this last night, but Todd is part of the Lollipop Guild. He is one of the smallest people I've ever seen in my life. And you know what? And I get away with saying he's in the Lollipop Guild because he and I are both in the Lollipop Guild. And I see him at the Wednesday meetings. And I was like, oh, he wasn't there last time because he was getting ready for the Game Awards. This man is staggeringly, distractingly small. It's okay because who am I to talk? Who am I to talk? But he's very small.
He looks shorter every year.
Yeah.
And I was wearing heels yesterday, but he was shorter every year that man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I agree with you.
But it's like Troy Baker is, I think, pretty tall, but to see Harrison Ford like kind of tower over Todd Howard, very funny.
Old tall people freak me out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know who I also met yesterday? Not to fucking
name drop. Let's do it.
But I don't. Name dropping John implies that I remembered the man's name. But you'll know who he is. The guy that voices Barrett.
Oh.
What? See, so you don't know either.
Uh-oh.
So we're both.
Uh-oh. You know what's weird is that like I don't know the name of anybody in the voice cast of Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy
VII
voice actor. Listen, I had a really long conversation.
John Eric Bentley.
Yes.
Yeah.
This dude, fucking legend. I love that guy. I was in the green room and he was getting hair and makeup and we just started talking and I was like, you seem important. And I had no idea. Like it was a Jenny Nicholson situation for me.
Yeah.
Where I had spent a long amount of time with the person before I was like, who is this?
But Niki, crucially, I want to say this. The Jenny Nicholson thing is funny because in this scenario, if you'd gone up to John Eric Bentley and he'd had a gun sewn to his arm and he took you around a destroyed city all day, it would have taken you 6 hours to be like, who is this guy? Because that's what taking Jenny Nicholson to Disneyland and being like, wow, a lot of people seem to really resonate with this girl around here. It's like John Eric Bentley's like, he's like with a machine gun strapped to his arm, like, oh, doing the voice and everything, and you'd be like, wow, who are you? And who might you be?
Yeah, who might you be?
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, I had no freak idea who this guy was. We had a lovely conversation, and he was like, wow, they're working you hard. And I was like explaining to, as I was like live tweeting and live posting during the pre-show and like uploading photos and stuff, I was like walking him through the thing, and he was like, wow, this is great. And then after he left, he went downstairs. I was like, do you know who that is? To Tiff, who is on the fandom team. And she was like, I have no idea. So then I walked downstairs, and I was like, Jan, the very tall, very attractive black guy with the big good hands, who's that? And then he goes, that's Barrett from Final Fantasy VII. And I go, oh. Yeah. But I also had a long conversation with not a long conversation. I had a conversation with, again, don't remember her name, Aerith's voice actress.
Oh yeah, who was
for best performance.
Was she not on?
She was on the
couch, right? Okay,
yes.
Yeah. It's Brianna White.
She was on the couch. Yes. And then I was like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know who you are, why you're here.
Yeah.
And someone was like, that's Aerith. And I was like, Aerith from the video game. Hey, does the Senua team have dirt on Jeff?
It is so, like, listen, I'm really, well, one, Harrison Ford did not say her name right at all, which is very funny. I think he said Melinda Jurgens. Which I think almost everyone missed because we were still recovering from Harrison basically being like trying to nope out of the situation. But he definitely said Melinda Jurgens, and I think you pronounce her name Melina Jurgens, I believe.
Yes.
She did win Best Performance, and I'm not going to say that she didn't deserve it on her performance alone. But what I will say is that the fact that she did a 30-month press tour for a game that turned out to be pretty bad, yeah, she probably deserved it for that more than anything else, of just like continuing to go around. I'm with you in the sense of like, why did Jeff...
They got 2 yesterday.
Like Miyazaki and Kojima, I get the star fucking that goes along with.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, those are 2 guys that I'm like, yeah, like sure. I don't really get this one. I don't really get this one.
Like I was shocked, like actually shocked. That was the one that shocked me. Like I would have been. If here's how fucked up I was about it. If Black Myth Wukong won Game of the Year, that would have been less shocking to me than Senua Girl winning Best Performance.
Okay.
Like it would have been easier for me to circle that square on Black Myth Wukong winning than it is for me to circle the square on.
Do you think all the mocap and specific physical acting that they had Melina do contributes to? Because I mean, I feel like
they literally mean best perform but
I feel like but I feel like the people that they've given that to, that's basically been it. It's been Christopher Judge. It's been Melina. It's been, I think Troy Baker hasn't won it, but it's like it's been people that have crazy, mostly done mocap stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's nuts though, right? Troy Baker, not to be like, I do think I like this Indiana Jones game. We haven't talked about any video games, but like,
no, we're running out of time too.
Yeah, we're running out of
time. We could go at least another hour if we can.
Yeah, but like, I do actually think that Troy Baker does what I would describe as his best work in this game, playing a man
Up.
that already exists.
He does his best work, and it's made me angry from the moment I started playing the
Yes,
game. I was
which
like,
is
"Oh
unfortunate.
man,
But
yeah,
he's not going to get anything for it.
no,
What do you mean? Well, he might get a BAFTA because they like their window
right,
is correct, but
yeah,
like
their window is
that's
right,
kind of crazy.
yeah."
Yeah. Hey, John, I didn't. Why didn't you tell me this? The people who made Sifu, a game I wanted to like but didn't, are making a soccer game.
Yeah, did you not see the trailer?
No, no.
Yeah,
When was it?
it was in the middle of the show. It
I
was
might have been
so
pissing.
they basically put a they basically hey you remember how Rocket League is based on soccer?
Yes, okay.
They
I'm
just
okay.
kind of like took the Rocket League part out of it and they
Out
just
of
made
it.
a soccer game. And it's basically
Okay.
like it's like what if soccer was in a terrarium and like
Great.
and like had more bounciness and stuff. This is a game I will absolutely play.
That sounds awesome. Yeah,
It,
Sifu felt
it,
good, and then I was like, I don't know why. Just watch.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
video
It's
game.
hard.
I fought the tree man in the the tree boss. He works in the
first
garden
boss?
store. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
said I think I get it.
Yeah,
And I put it down.
yeah,
So
yeah. The first boss is it's hard. It's a hard game.
hard game.
Yeah. That game looks pretty cool. I would definitely do it. We have a couple of Hive questions. Let's do a couple of
Yeah,
Hive
let's do
questions
it.
to get out of here. Did you see that First We Feast sold for $84 million? BuzzFeed
To
sold
who?
them.
Wait, why? Huh?
For yeah,
Wait
that's
for wait
no for real. Yeah.
for what? It's the only thing they have.
Yep, because it's helping BuzzFeed pay off some looming debt. BuzzFeed is basically going to essentially First We Feast to a consortium led by an affiliate of Soros Fund Management LLC. So George Soros now owns Hot Ones. Wild, huh? There's a question.
No, wait.
BuzzFeed is paying off some debt, and also they're very publicly shifting to a more kind of AI bullshit model. I mean, that's what they've said for a long
But
time.
they don't have. That's not going to make any money.
It's not going to make any money, and also Niki, like, to me, it's like let's say Sean Evans and First We Feast and Hot Ones. Let's say they were not making money hand over fist, which they are. They are making a lot of money.
But that's the thing is that
The thing is that they are now, folks. You cannot buy what they have, which is cultural cachet in a way that like you just don't you cannot blink it into existence. They have worked and lucked into a situation where they are now a mandatory
Yes.
press stop
Yes.
for massive things.
They got Disney to do 2D animation again.
Yes. It is cultural cachet you cannot buy. So the
this
fact
would
that you would
be-
sell it is bonkers to me.
This would be like working at like a food magazine and having like an unbelievably relatable but star power filled cast of chefs and on camera presenters kind
Yes.
of all at the same time with a bunch of different interpretations and ways to approach food, and you also have like a print magazine at the same time. And it's kind of like an expansion of a digital brand. It would be like having that and throwing it away over nothing. That's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's very strange. Anyway, the question was leveled to us. Would either of us go on Hot Ones?
Honestly, I think I would. Oh, here's why. I want to see that. I want to see Sean Evans interview a regular person. So
I do
bad.
too. I do too.
With like literally
too.
just a person that is not a
Right.
celebrity at all.
Right.
But
Yeah.
approach the interview with the exact amount of same level of preparation and tonality with the question asking, and be like, okay, so it says here that you dropped out of college 3 times. Why is that? Please eat the cauliflower.
Please eat the please. John, you famously posted Bazinga Bazinga the 5th of November on your Blue Sky account on November 5th. Do you feel like slogans and catchphrases are the way to gain enough kind of collective power to overthrow governments? Why or why not? Why is that important to you? Like, like...
That would be really
I mean,
good.
it would just be really good. I would
So,
do it.
To answer your question, yes.
I would do it because I like hot sauce and I like chicken wings. And also, yes, I think Niki's 100% right. To see Sean Evans and his team do the legwork it would take to make that conversation interesting, like, I have to see that.
I have to see.
I absolutely have to see that. There was another question that I thought was good. Let me see.
Was it from Lovick about Catley?
We were probably gonna. I was gonna get to that if we had more time. We can talk about Catley. I can't tell if that was an AI thing.
It feels like an AI.
It felt like an AI thing.
AI. It felt like when it was pitched, it was a blockchain game, and then the blockchain thing fell apart. So now it's an AI game. Yeah. But it seems like it's a Tamagotchi-like. Because very strangely, in what platforms it's coming to, it had Apple Watch on it.
It had Apple Watch on it.
And then that made me think, it is actually, like, unfortunately is a good idea. It's insane that there's not a virtual pet app on the iPhone.
Insane.
For the watch.
That is 100%.
That's Prince money as an idea.
Yep.
So unfortunately, I do think they had a good idea. They're executing it poorly, obviously.
They're executing it poorly. Imran asks, what do you think Jeff intends with Games for Impact, and how do you think most voters interpret it?
It's the one that I actually do think, and like, I think he thinks it is the woke derogatory game category.
Okay.
That's my vibe for it. Like, I think that's what I think he thinks about it.
He thinks it's the crumbs that he's throwing out to the woke police that are mad about Black Myth Wukong or Stellar Blade or whatever.
Yes, that's what I think it is.
Okay.
What do you think it is?
I think that's mostly it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, I think it's a weird. Well, it's a throwaway category because they fucking mentioned it at the pre-show. Yeah. So he didn't give a shit about it.
And then I think the way that voters interpret it is, which one of these do I like the most? Because 100%. Then the question then for the voters is, which of these quote unquote causes, which is not how,
which is better,
exactly that weird. And I think, like, from a humanity perspective, it is playing a professional Olympics is fun, but like when you're voting on it, that makes it weird and hard, right?
Yeah.
So then you have to pick the one that you like the most.
Next time you vote in that category, just literally like think of it as like, all right, which is better? This charity that builds houses, or a mental health advocacy, or it's like cancer research. It's like, which one's best? Well, that's going on your OkCupid profile. Just remember that. Whichever one you think is. All right. Destructonaut has one more question. With the Steam Deck, growing rumors of Valve working on a new Steam machine, and Sony and Microsoft both putting games on Steam, do you think it's possible they Trojan horse their way into first or second place in the new generation? Like a possible future where Steam, whereas possible future where it's just them and Nintendo making dedicated hardware, and Sony and Microsoft become mostly third-party developers. I have kind of a two-part answer to that question, but what do you think, Niki?
I still don't think this is crazy, because the act of using both of these boxes is kind of a nightmare. The Xbox and the PlayStation. Linux is never going to be over, gang. Like, Linux is never getting over. You are not going to be able to sustain. People do not want a computer under their TV. They simply do not.
They don't.
And
like the interface is just not like it's not
there.
It's not there.
They'll put these Steam machines out, right? And they'll run in big picture mode or whatever the equivalent of the Steam Deck thing, and they'll be fine, right? They are going to not then do the things that you want it to do, because the next question is, you put a Steam machine under my TV. Does that mean they're putting Netflix on Steam?
Right.
Does that mean they're putting Hulu on Steam? Is
I'm
Disney
actually,
Plus coming to
I'm actually
Steam?
kind of shocked that that hasn't happened yet, and I think
Right?
that's
And
probably
you
right.
need to do that.
Yeah, you have to do
Because the
that.
alternative is you open it in the Linux browser,
Right, yeah.
and that
Yeah.
and at that
Wh-
point it's
on,
over.
on my Steam Deck, one night when I was visiting family, I had my
Yeah.
Steam Deck and went to sleep early and was like,
Uh-huh.
I really like don't fucking riff rap around and do a bunch of bullshit. And I was like, okay, like don't have the TV on and all that stuff. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, well I don't want to play anything, but I want to watch. There's so many caveats to this. It doesn't matter. I had wired headphones. Okay? So
Okay.
before you ask, why didn't you just do this on your phone? That's why. I had
Okay.
wired headphones.
Yep,
My
got it.
Bluetooth headphones were out of juice. Okay.
for sure.
So I was like,
Absolutely.
I plugged in a headphone jack to my Steam Deck, and I was like, I'm going to go to the normal desktop mode of this and go to YouTube. Folks, that process is so busted
It's
that
miserable.
I decided to just turn off my machine and try to go to sleep like a little asshole. And I was like, no more YouTube for me. Fine.
Yeah.
And
No.
so
And
if they just put it in the fucking interface, I could have just done it through Steam,
Yes.
and that would have been great.
And here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Valve is actually interested in that. And I
No.
could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
But because when people put a box, they put one box under their TV. There is
Mm-hmm.
not a normal people are not putting multiple things underneath their television. The
No.
TV runs shit, and then they have the box that does other stuff.
that does other stuff. That's it.
They're not
That's it.
trying to put another box underneath there.
Yeah.
So, no. I don't think it's gonna. I think they will be a strong third place. No, a fourth place. But
Okay.
I think they will be behind the big three, and then
And I want to be very clear about this because this is my answer. Folks, they are already number one. In almost every
For sure.
category you can talk about, they are number one. They own, like, the PC games market absolutely dwarfs the console market.
Yes.
Like, and there's just a ton of information out there for you to go check that out. But it's like, yeah, that like PC gaming is huge. You are asking specifically about hardware, and because they are so clearly ahead of everyone in terms of like controlling market share, I don't think they feel really any pressure to basically make dedicated hardware in order to eat into this stuff. That's my personal feeling. I still get the sense that this is like a fun diversion for them that has ended up yielding tremendous results for them. But what it has also done is kickstarted a bunch of other production of machines that do something
which is what
very
they were
similar.
trying- yeah, which is what they were trying to do when they did Steam Machines the first time.
Yes,
They were
yes.
trying to do, we'll make one, everybody else is going to make the rest, and we can kind of just sit back and revel in the fact that now more people are buying games on Steam.
Yep.
And they actually did it this time.
And they actually did it. Yeah.
I think probably the move right is whenever this refreshed Steam Deck comes out, is that they will just put the same hardware that's in the next one in a box with no screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that has to be what it is, and it's going to be a little cheaper, or maybe the same price, or something like in the same window ballpark. And I think that's it. Like I don't think they're going to go crazy with it. And
Yeah.
I don't think that AMD is then going to be like, because they already make the chips for the PlayStation and the Xbox, so they're not then gonna be like, okay, well now we're gonna undercut ourselves. No,
Right.
No, they're not gonna
Nope.
do that. Like, Steam's they're gonna put this guts of the next Steam Deck inside of a box. They'll sell it at Target,
Yep.
and then it will just be another thing that you can buy at Target, the same way you can buy a
Like
Roger
the
Ally
Hex,
and
the
Lenovo,
Next
thing,
Playground.
and then- yeah, or the next Playground.
Next Playground, of course.
Dude, the
What-
next Playground and the next Steam, the sequel to the Steam Deck are going
Steam
to cost
Deck,
about the same amount
the
of
same
money.
amount of
Isn't
money.
that crazy?
Yeah, pretty wild, pretty wild, pretty wild. All right, Nikki and I actually have to leave and go record a different
another
episode of a
podcast.
different podcast. We're going to go record an episode of If You're Driving, Close Your Eyes. This has been a fun one, a long one. We did not even talk about half the things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
so
no, we'll do another
next
one.
week, we'll do another one. And I think we'll do Goaty stuff next week, something like
Yeah,
that.
sounds good.
We got to
Yeah,
turn
if-
in our
I'm-
lists on the
I'm-
18th. So
Yeah, I'm also free, so if you want to do a bonus,
a bono, okay. We may do a bono.
I'm available for that next week.
Cool. Let's
Oh!
do that. What?
Hey, Elden
Yes.
Hunters and Merit K and Shade's game Fledgling Manor came out on Steam this week. And you
It
can
did.
go buy it for, I was about to say for free. It's not free.
It's not for
a
free,
cost
but
of
it's
money.
15%
Hey,
off
hey,
for
hey,
watch.
hey. You know who it was free for? Me and John.
Me
So.
and Sean. Yeah.
It was free for me.
It's free for us.
Except for when I gave them money for it. I did buy the
Wait,
game.
you did that?
Yeah, I did. I bought the game.
Huh. Maybe I'll just Venmo Merit. I think I might just Venmo Merit. I don't think I want to
That's
go
really
in
funny.
it's like
You
I
don't
might
even-
just
you don't wanna
Venmo.
give
I
Gabe
might just like
30%?
give. I'm like, here. Do you want $15 or whatever? Here you go. Go see a Star War.
It's really funny. I actually do think you should do that.
I should do that. I might do that.
But yeah, the game is out. It's great. I really
good.
had a good time with it. Please, 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 if you somehow have not heard about it or played it already or heard anybody talk about it, it's a vampire reality show. Sexy, funny, goofy, spooky a little bit.
Great characters.
Great characters, great art. It's
Yeah.
a good time. So yeah, Fledgling Manor on Steam. I think it's still on sale in the intro week.
I think it is. I think it's still on sale.
So yeah, go get it and tell your friends. It's
Tell
a
your
lovely
friends.
gift for the holidays.
It is a lovely gift because you can gift things on Steam, which is so smart. Yeah, please go check out Fledgling Manor. That would be amazing. Nikki, any parting shots?
No, I don't want to touch another fucking video game for 6 years.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you, except for Path of Exile 2, which I'm going to play until my eyes bleed.
Dude, I don't understand that one, but I have been playing
good.
Caves of Cud.
Yeah, Caves of Quad.
Every time
yeah.
I say it different.
Differently, yeah.
I think that game is good.
Yeah, that game's really good. Yeah.
I think I like that game.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
I don't really understand it, but I do think I like it.
No, I don't think you're supposed to understand it. It's one of those things that I think is going to continue to vex you for a long time, but it's really good. All right, folks, let's, we'll probably do a Bono and a Goaty episode next week. Let's do that. Go to VGBs.com/join. I got that right. Join the Hive, and you can ask us Hive questions. We still have a lot of stuff on the table here, so we'll have to cover that in a future bonus.
Oops, all Hive questions.
Oops, all questions. Yeah, that might be a fun one. All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening, and but until next time, keep on buzzing. Bye. I'm not gonna do it. Should I do the outro? Let's do the outro.
Yeah, why
Okay,
not?
fine. Why not?
Oh, you pressed that button and all the stuff came back on my screen.